A few weeks ago, I posted a video on 10 red flags of a female covert narcissist, and since then I've had requests for a video on how to spot the red flags when it comes to the male covert narcissist in a romantic relationship. I'm Lise Leblanc. I've been a therapist for over 20 years and a life coach for over a decade, and I want to remind you that this information is for educational purposes only. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. If you need help with your specific situation, please reach out to a mental health professional in your area who specializes in NPD. So if you've fallen victim to a covert narcissist, also known as a vulnerable or fragile narcissist, you know that their approach is much more calculated and sneaky than the grandiose narcissist's impulsive and aggressive approach. And I'll often hear people say, well, it takes two to tango when they're talking about narcissistic abuse. But if you're dealing with a covert narcissist and you've never seen this before, it is like wandering into a beautiful pasture and then finding out it's full of landmines. But by the time you realize this, it's far too late. So while I can appreciate these judgments if it's a repeated pattern of getting involved with narcissists, I can guarantee that the average person who doesn't know what they're walking into won't know what hit them until they are psychologically blown to smithereens. Like a landmine, when triggered, someone with NPD unleashes unspeakable destruction. So before I give you the 10 red flags that you are in a relationship with a covert narcissist, let me first say that although there are predictable patterns of behavior, every narcissist has individual differences, and they may or may not display all of these red flags. But for narcissism to apply, there must be a pervasive pattern of grandiosity and superiority, a need for admiration, and a lack of empathy that occurs on an ongoing basis. The fact is, everyone is narcissistic to some degree, but this is to extremes almost all of the time. And regardless of anything else, red flag number 10 will tell you with 100% accuracy whether you are in a toxic relationship that you need to get out of. So red flag number 1 is that the male covert narcissist gets you to feel sorry for them, to view them as a project. He will act like he needs you and only you. He'll share his sob stories, pull on your heartstrings, and he is leveraging your empathy, giving you a sense of purpose, a mission. And if they're not sharing their sob stories, you will still be able to detect the poor me undercurrent to what they are saying and how they need you. Where the grandiose narcissist is more likely to make you their project, the covert narcissist is much more likely to make themselves your project. Red flag number 2 is love bombing. And this starts the moment the narcissist has pegged you as a suitable candidate or a suitable host. They will latch on quickly and consume all of your time and energy. Their entire focus will be on you as though nothing else matters. The male covert narcissist goes about love bombing in a less dramatic way than the grandiose narcissist. They're still giving you excessive attention, admiration, and gifts with the aim of making you feel like you owe them and to get you addicted to their attention. But it's not as over the top and assertive. But they do put you on a giant pedestal. They are idealizing you, creating a fantasy version of you that doesn't actually exist. And during this phase, they truly believe you are the answer to all of their prayers, their soulmate, that you can do no wrong. But there is nowhere to go but down from here, because it's not possible for you to live up to this image of perfection that they've created. So during this stage, they're telling you everything you want to hear, everything you need to hear, promising you the world. And if they're not already successful in their career and finances, they will tell you that it's just because they need a good woman like you to help them. Now, every relationship does go through a honeymoon stage where everything is exciting and blissful. But with love bombing and idealizing, it is obsessive and so intense. It's way too much, way too soon. And then, after a certain period of time, boom, you're cut off. It's done. So even though normal relationships do shift, you still feel important, respected, and loved after the honeymoon stage ends. Red flag number 3 is ultra fast trust building and bonding. The male covert narcissist will act super humble and super trustworthy. They will ask deep, meaningful questions about your family history, trauma, relationships. They will relate to what you say and appear deeply interested and empathetic. But these deep conversations are aimed at getting information from you and just eliciting that deep personal stuff that they will later use to mess with your mind and your emotions. In other words, they will get you to share your issues, which they will then use to drive you further and further over the edge of insanity. The male covert narcissist will appear harmless in the initial stages. It's that wolf in sheep's clothing. They will often act inferior or below you as they try to win your trust. Red flag number 4 is where the confusion starts to set in. The head games and psychological tricks begin. It's like a switch goes off in their mind and they start knocking you off that pedestal. You are no longer shiny and new, and they are losing interest in you and moving their entire attention away from you. They start devaluing you, comparing you to other better people. They want you to know you're a disappointment, you're hurting them, you're not who they thought you were. They start to behave in dismissive and condescending ways, maybe leaving things laying around that they know will hurt you or bring up jealousies and insecurities. And in this stage, their words no longer match their body language. For example, they might tell you they love you while their whole body is screaming, "I hate you." And this is incredibly confusing and causes cognitive dissonance because the person in front of you no longer fits with the person you thought you knew. And more they behave in these contradictory ways. They may compliment and insult you in the same sentence. They may act empathetic while using sensitive information you shared with them against you. And the contempt and the criticism really starts to intensify here. Red flag number 5 is gaslighting. Here they are accusing you of flirting, cheating, lying. They twist the things you say or have said. They deny things they've said and make you really doubt your reality. They make it seem like you are victimizing them. And as time goes on, you find yourself apologizing when you did nothing wrong, second guessing yourself, defending against unfounded accusations, trying to prove your loyalty, your trustworthiness, while they're likely lying and cheating as they try to find new supply to feed their needs. So here you're bending over backwards to meet all of their needs while none of your needs are being met. Gaslighting is much more subtle with the covert narcissist. Where the grandiose narcissist is all up in your face, aggressively telling you how it is and how wrong and defective you are, the male covert narcissist flips the narrative in much more sneaky ways. They may act like they are trying to be helpful by recommending therapy to you and reminding you how messed up your childhood was or your last relationship was. They may use things you confided in them as evidence that you are inherently defective. They both make you think you're crazy, but the covert narcissist is just so much, again, sneakier in the way they do it. And when you see that smug smirk on their face, it means they got what they wanted. They know they succeeded in making you feel just a little crazier. Red flag number 6 is that the male covert narcissist gets emotionally cold as ice towards you. If you have sex, you feel like an object. It's like you've become nothing to them, or like they hate you. They become distant, even more distrusting, completely focused on having you comply with their rules and boundaries, which of course don't apply to them. If you try to ask what happened or why things are changing, they will accuse you of being needy, clingy, insecure, and that you're trying to manipulate them. The more you push for answers, the more they detach from you, emotionally stonewall you. They just simply shut you down and refuse to interact with you because You're so unreasonable. Or, whatever else you supposedly did to turn them off. And this feels like you are at fault, but you're not. They never loved you. They idealized you. And it's not personal. It's NPD. They will repeat this pattern their whole lives. And if you stay together, they may throw you a bone here and there when, their sideline narc supply is low. But generally speaking, from this point on, if you do stay together, you are simply a commodity and an outlet for their cynicism, their anger, their judgment, and you will feel like you are being followed by a big black cloud. Red flag number 7 is that they are extremely sensitive to criticism. Like it's not even criticism, and they take it that way. They are provoked by every little thing and perceive themselves as the one being wronged. Red flag number 8, they are very controlling, jealous, insecure, and it's their way or the highway. They blame you for everything. They can't apologize for anything. There is no accountability or responsibility whatsoever on their part, and they try to control you and everything around you while they can do whatever they want and react poorly to any questioning or criticism of their behavior. They're always right, and they will punish you with the silent treatment, insults, moodiness, and gaslighting, and emotional stonewalling. Number 9, there's often a concurrent disorder such as anxiety, depression, OCD, addiction, that leads to even more confusion around what you're dealing with. Red flag number 10 is the most important one, and this doesn't only apply to NPD, but this flag will let you know that you are definitely in a toxic relationship that you need to get out of. This is it. You've gone from a relatively stable person to a nervous wreck. You barely recognize yourself anymore. You feel like you're in a fog, like you don't know what's real and what's not, what's up, what's down. They've convinced you that you're the problem. You're the one with issues. You're the one hurting and manipulating them. And you feel incredibly confused, lonely, isolated, and hated by the man who says he loves you. So again, my best advice, if you are dealing with a pathological narcissist, leave. Just get out if you can, because you will be driven to insanity by the cognitive dissonance, because the true version of them is not the kind, considerate version you met initially. Forget about that. It was an act. So if there are any other red flags that you've seen, please comment below. And if there's anything else you want to learn about NPD, please check out my playlist on narcissistic personality disorder.